At work on Saturday, right? Tell me if I'm being over dramatic here because I'm tired.
Go on.
Obviously, so we sit at computers.
Yeah.
So just imagine we have computers in front of us, and then we've got a big CCTV wall with a TV in the middle.
Yeah.
So we can watch TV. On nights, we'll tend to deviate from BBC. It's meant to be on BBC News all day, every day.
In case
something happens, yeah. But on nights, obviously, it's a little bit quieter, so we can watch like TV. It's only like terrestrial free TV.
Yeah.
But on, I want to say Saturday night, but it might have been Friday night. Green Mile was on. Classic, right?
Great film.
So I put it on background. It's background funny. You don't really watch it anyway, and you can't listen to it with any volume, so it's subtitled anyway.
Yeah.
And then we got new guys starting. He turned it off to put Prey on, and I wasn't watching it, so I can't really go, "What are you doing?" But I was just like, "What are you doing? Am I being over dramatic here?" On a night shift, he wasn't really watching, and he's training. Like he's literally been there like 2 days. So he's picked up the remote, first of all, to change the channel.
Mate.
Not asked if anyone's watching it. Changed it and go, "Oh, is anyone watching that?" And I was just like, "No."
That's when you should have added.
I wasn't. I was watching Traitors. Anyway, welcome back to the Sunday League Effect. With myself and my good friend, Nicholas, Nico. Anything else?
Not that I want to say, no.
Yeah, cool. The podcast where we mix our football genius with Sunday League chaos.
You're football genius. I'm Sunday League chaos.
I mean, reading the comments, mate, I don't think many people would agree, but yeah. We've got a bit of a different one for you guys today because obviously it was FA Cup weekend. There wasn't any real big shocks.
Nothing.
So there's nothing massive to talk about the FA Cup. We'll touch on the results. We'll talk a little bit about the quarterfinals. Then we've got something a little bit different that we think you guys might like.
Bit of a belter for you, I'd say. We are going to dive into some of the quirkiest Premier League stats. Probably some that most of you have never even heard of, unless you've really done your due diligence.
Or you don't go outside.
We don't go outside, yeah. We'll also be reliving some of the most bizarre moments, across in football history, I suppose, not just the Premier League.
Yeah.
And debating what makes the perfect Premier League player. Now, this one is going to be a much more interactive one for you guys because we want to hear your own comments.
And I'm tired of getting pelters in the comments for all my outrageous takes.
So some of you,
outrageous.
No, so some of you give us some outrageous takes.
Yes, we're giving you the opportunity to actually give us something constructive.
Absolutely.
Rather than insert a few of the comments that aimed at me here.
Yeah. And of course, we'll be wrapping things up with our favourite game that you've probably never heard of. Who said that?
And I can't wait because Nick's not going to get any of them. So whether you're listening at work, pretending to work, or still recovering from a dodgy tackle on
Sunday League.
Yeah.
Sunday League
Nick is, to be fair. Hit the subscribe button, like, share, comment.
Hit that bell.
And we'll dive straight into it.
Let's go.
And I've got a nice little start for you. And for you. A quirky little stat. Did you know, I think a lot of people know the first bit. Did you know that Richard Dunn holds the record for the most own goals in Premier League history?
I didn't know that.
With
no.
10 goals.
10 own goals? Is that it?
That's it. But wait till you hear. So that's more Premier League goals than Gerard Deulofeu, Watford legend, and also Jeremy Aliadier, who played for West Ham.
Oh, really?
Arsenal. He played for about 9 teams. Deulofeu apparently only got 5 Premier League goals,
But he played for us in the Championship as well.
Oh, okay. But he was at Everton in the Premier League as well. Twice.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So I'm not 100% sure on that one, but I have done some research and it was fine. And Jeremy Aliadier only got 8.
8 goals.
And he was right around the first choice for Arsenal when Henry was there, Van Persie was there. So he got minutes with some very, very good players.
And still only scored 8 goals?
Yeah.
Jesus.
But Richard Dunn, slabhead, loved an own goal. I think someone's equalled it recently. I think so. I think Michael Keane might be close to it now. We'll jump straight into the weekend recap though. I'll let you lead off with that, mate.
The United Fulham game.
Yeah, I didn't really watch much of the FA Cup, to be honest. FA Cup weekend, at this point, I'll brush over a couple of the games. If there's a big fixture, I'll watch. But this game, I started watching it and then I went to bed because I was on nights.
I watched it all. Mm-hmm. And then my phone was dying because I was playing on it so much that I had to put it on charge. So I had to watch the extra time and penalties. It was dross. Oh, God, it was boring. The only player that looked like he was going to do anything was Fernandez and a couple of...
I think Xerxes looked really good.
He did.
His link-up play, I mean, I know he missed the penalty. It ended up being the crucial one because obviously Lindelof missed before, but the keeper still needed to make a save, and I don't think Onana would have because he's got wrists like mine.
Although he actually played all right, to be fair.
Onana, he made a couple of decent saves, yeah. Fulham look good, though. Fulham can do that for any team.
Yeah, and it... we'll close on this for United and move on.
We're going to keep it really short for this
because it's not. That's not really a shocker. But I genuinely believe that United will get rid of Amorim if he doesn't do more in the European Champion, like the Europeans,
the Europa League.
That's
I can't see him winning it.
No. Well, he's got a really tough game against Real Betis.
Sociedad. I think it's Sociedad. Yeah.
I think if he doesn't win that and he's out of that, I can't see him keeping him.
Give him to the end of the season and then get rid of him.
Because they've got nothing to go for then. This well,
their whole season was hanging on the FA Cup, and the FA Cup realistically was the better option of the two, because was the lesser of two evils rather, because there was only Man City that are really a superior team. Yeah. On paper, because my prediction for it isn't actually going to be City, but we'll get to that at the end. Carry on with the results. Right. Everyone will know the results. We'll just talk about it briefly though.
Palace win. I didn't see the game. Can't tell you anything much.
So I saw the game. Millwall got their goalkeeper sent off in the 4th minute.
Oh, is that game? Oh, right. Yeah. So I saw that.
So if you haven't seen it, the goalkeeper's decided to kung fu kick Mateta, who's 6'9", in the ear. And he wasn't crouching. He was like leaning a little bit, but he was still like pretty much his full frame.
High.
When in real time, it looked like the keeper's pulled his foot back and hit him with his knee. But when it showed, I couldn't believe that ITV or BBC, I can't remember what channel it was on, showed it. Yeah, so many times. They normally don't show it.
No, but it's brutal,
but it was really bad. Definitely a red card. Do you see what Joey Barton said about it?
Oh, God.
So Joey Barton tweeted, I think it's a foul from Mateta on the defender. Fair enough. It potentially is. And then he says the keeper's got every right to go for it. So this is where he loses me. He's got every right to go with it, and then something along the lines of not a red card.
Is it all crap?
And it's just like, Joey Barton, mate, you're the last person who anyone's going to listen to about what is and isn't a red card. Palace ran out worthy winners in the end.
Brighton, a late winner.
Newcastle, wasn't it?
That I saw.
I was gutted. I was hoping for penalties.
I saw some of the highlights of that, and it looked like a really good game.
It was a very good game. Gordon got sent off.
Well, they both went down to 10 men, didn't they? So Gordon got sent off for kicking out, was it?
Straight red. So the whistle went for a foul. I can't remember if it was a foul to Newcastle or Brighton.
Yeah, I remember now.
The whistle went, and they carried on like scuffling for the ball. And then the Brighton players sort of like barged him, and he's pushed him, but he's turned round and pushed all in one movement. And it's gone higher and it's pushed him in the face.
The player's sort of already leaning down like that.
And so it looks like he struck him in the face. Well, he has struck him in the face. So, in rules of the game, it's a red card. But now he will miss the Carabao Cup final.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, they were saying that on the TV.
So, Newcastle now have two options. They can appeal it. And then if he gets overturned,
he'll be able to play.
He'll be able to play. But I think I might be wrong if it gets... not overturned. If he gets upheld, it'll be extended to a 4-game ban automatically. I think I don't know if that's a FIFA thing or that's actually real, but I'm pretty sure if there is a pushback on the appeal side of it.
Then they'll basically say, well, you've appealed it, but we're going to extend it.
Yeah, because we looked at it more now and think the punishment wasn't good enough or something along them lines. But
it's under
Brighton
violent
looked
conduct.
good, and to be fair, they probably deserved it on the balance of play. Newcastle were pushing when it went down to 10 men each. Yeah. And periods of time, Newcastle were on top. Goal disallowed from Isak, rightly so, for offside.
Yeah.
Goal disallowed, I think, for Share as well, rightly for offside.
There's no big shockers, I thought, in VAR. Was there VAR in this round?
Yeah, there was VAR.
Yeah, there was, wasn't there? Yeah, I don't think there's any massive shockers.
No, I think they got it right, but it took ages. So the FA Cup this round, you would have seen, was the first we've seen of semi-automatic offsides.
Yeah, offsides, wasn't it?
Which, by the way, there was a massive appeal on the Friday night game because there was a 7-minute delay for it, but it was a handball, I think. It wasn't even offside, so I don't know where everyone's complaining. I don't want to delve too much about it.
It's probably just people get to complain about VAR, not...
Yeah, it looks really good. It's straightforward. It still took too long. Like, if there's so you've seen it in European games, there's basically an invisible wall that comes up, then they shade it in blue, and any body part that's over that line, it will flash red.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't take longer than, in theory, a couple of seconds.
No, so you no longer need the drawing out the lines and shit like that.
Because that is the line. It's a wall.
Yeah. So moving on, Villa winners.
Yeah.
Again, no massive shock. Preston North End.
Smashed Burnley.
Yeah.
3-0.
Which surprises me, actually.
For any of our fans, well, all of our fans, I imagine no one watches the Championship apart from Nick. Burnley are about to break the record for the fewest goals conceded in the Championship ever. They've only conceded something ridiculous like 9 goals all season, and they conceded 3 to Preston North End, who are just outside the playoffs. That's the biggest shock of this round, though. No one really cares about Preston, unless you're a Preston fan, and I apologise to you directly.
They're not even close. 15th.
Okay, there you go. So, shows where Burnley's head's at. Yeah. They're fully looking at promotion, ready to get relegated.
I don't think they really had.
Well, they're going to come up and go back down. That's one team certainly going down.
Yeah.
Bournemouth got a win.
Yeah.
Who did Bournemouth play again? My mind's just gone blank. Was it Wolves?
Wolves.
Yeah.
Because it went to extra time.
That was extra time, wasn't it? Penalties. Yeah. Bournemouth ran out winners. And I'm glad Bournemouth ran out winners, to be honest, because I actually really like Bournemouth, and I think this is a really good opportunity for a couple of teams left in to get to the final.
It makes it a little bit more exciting. It's almost like, and I'll bring them up, Watford's run. We had a really good run, and obviously once we reached Man City, we just lost.
Southampton in the semis, didn't you?
No, Wolves.
Oh, yeah.
We were losing 2-0.
Yeah, I went to that game. You won 3-2, didn't you?
I flew out to Africa that day, right?
Oh, look at me. I've been to Africa.
Yeah, I was volunteering, mate. I'm a nice person.
I'm not.
Anyway, I left to go to the airport at 2-0 down and thought, oh, well, game's over, sort of done.
And then you
I get to the airport.
Africa.
No, I get to the airport, it's 2-0. I'm like, what the fuck?
I'd
So
to go
gutted.
plane.
Don't forget also, Mateus Cunha got sent off.
Oh, yeah, another petulant outburst, similar to, I think, Gordon's, but he just lost his head.
Yeah.
Red card, he'll miss 3 games now, or maybe even more, because it's his second red card for violent conduct in a short period of time.
Headbutt. The biggest shock, I'd say, of that weekend was City winning
against Plymouth.
I was
going 1-0 down.
Yeah.
Well, I was at work, and when Plymouth scored, I was buzzing.
I was really hoping.
And then City just remembered that they can play football for once.
Yeah.
So City went through. Forest, Ipswich tonight.
I reckon Forest will win it. Unless Ipswich...
I think Ipswich will.
You reckon they'll go out and try
I think Forest would have
focused on the league.
I think they would have rested a few players, yeah. So the quarterfinals, before we do our prediction for who's going to win, because my prediction originally was Man United and they've gone out. Fulham, Palace, Preston, Villa, Bournemouth, City, Brighton, Forest or Ipswich. So who...
Do you know what? That actually...
It's good quarterfinals.
Because Bournemouth can beat City.
I think Bournemouth will beat City. It's at Bournemouth as well.
Yeah. I reckon
and this isn't the City of years gone by where they are impenetrable. They can be got at.
Yeah.
And Bournemouth are a team that will get at you, especially the Vitality.
100%. For me, I could see Brighton winning this.
My pick's Bournemouth. This is how you want the quarterfinals to go. Fulham to beat Palace.
Yep.
Villa will beat Preston. Bournemouth beat City. And Brighton beat whoever wins the game tonight. So then you've got 3. Yeah. So you got 4 teams going through that all want to play football.
Yeah.
And it's not Man City, so you haven't got the giant there to squash the little boys.
I think if City go out, basically it's anybody's cup.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, do you see little man's kit?
Yeah. It's really funny actually because I was out in Sports Direct a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
When I went to buy my boots.
Yeah.
And I saw that and I was like, oh, maybe I should get that for Mike when the baby's here.
Fucking expensive.
I'm glad I didn't because I saw it and I was like,
It came and I was like, who got this for us?
No, it wasn't me.
No, it was Mel's sister.
All right.
But yeah, we've decided to torture our unborn child by
forcing West Ham on them.
Forcing West Ham onto him before he has a choice.
Yeah.
Make sure like all good parents should do.
Absolutely.
But that's about it from the FA Cup. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
That's done, mate.
But what we're going to get onto now, a bit of a stat attack.
Stat attack.
Numbers that will blow your mind. They might not. But I've got a couple of questions, and I'm going to ask Nick, knowing that he's not going to know the answer to most of them, and I'll give you the answers as well.
Okay.
All right. Can you tell me what's the number for the most goals scored in a single Premier League game? And this is for you guys as well.
Do you want like the score?
I want the number of goals first. If you get the number, then
12?
Close. So it's 11. In 2007,
Yeah.
Portsmouth beat Reading 7-4.
Jesus.
I don't remember that game at all. I remember Portsmouth being in the Premier. That must have been Harry Redknapp time.
Yeah,
Like FA Cup final.
Portsmouth was years ago because I remember when I started getting all the the match attacks when I was in like junior school, and Portsmouth were like loads of the shiny ones and stuff like that.
They were. Yakubu, Peter Crouch with his short hair.
I'm gonna be honest, so that must have been some of the worst defending ever.
Well, Reading. I'm trying to think. I think that was the Reading team that would have had the likes of Hunt up front, Stephen Hunt and Kevin Doyle, Leroy Lea, and I can't remember any of their defenders because let's be honest, no one really remembers Reading defenders.
Well, when they conceded 7.
Yeah, they conceded 7 as well.
Probably got sacks.
Do you reckon Defoe was at Portsmouth then? Would that have been the time with Defoe and Crouchy up front? I'm pretty sure that was around the time they got to the FA Cup final.
Maybe, I don't really know.
Who 2007? Who was up front for Portsmouth? Was it? I'm pretty sure it was Defoe and Crouch. Nico Cranshaw would have been there. Mate, they had a well good team. Thinking about it, Lasana Diarra.
That's probably why they scored 7.
Yeah, probably. It was in Europe. Mental.
Can
you tell me the longest unbeaten home run in the Premier League? Pick a team.
We'll go Chelsea.
Yeah, it is.
Take that.
I wasn't expecting that. 86 game streak at Stamford Bridge under Mourinho.
Jeez.
And in them 86
do you know what?
games,
I know that stat now.
Yeah.
Now, since you said Mourinho, I was like, yeah, I know that.
In them 86 games, I bet 67 of them were 1-0.
Just part of the bus.
Or, actually, no, saying that's unfair because they were very good going forward.
Yeah.
They would have kept a clean sheet in a lot of them.
Probably. That seems to be their problem now, just leaking goals.
Yeah, well, it's for years. They've just not had decent defenders. Since John Terry left, you won't know this, I'll just tell you this one. The fastest Premier League red card, I couldn't find the exact time on this, so this must be wrong. It must be rounded down what I found. But it said this guy was sent off in 0 seconds for elbowing an opponent immediately after coming on.
What do you reckon? It was like, sub, yeah.
I think he must have ran. Oh, no, I do know. I have seen it. It was for Sheffield United. I'm pretty sure. I'll find the clip. It wasn't Sheffield United. I'm not going to apologise now. I'll wait. But I'm pretty sure it was Sheffield United. He ran on, and a player's like come up to him as he's ran on the other team, and he's just elbowed him like 2 yards from the touchline. He's just got sent straight off. I'm pretty sure that's the right one. It's on like one of those blooper reels.
Yeah.
You might not watch it. It's stuff you watch on night shifts at like 2 a.m. when the YouTube algorithm's running thin.
I guarantee I've probably seen it.
Yeah, probably.
I'll see the clip and I'll be like, yeah, I know that one exactly. Because I watch those all the time, like fastest, like top 10 fastest red cards and shit. I love that stuff.
I love watching like worst tackles in Sunday League and best goals, and none of the goals are meant. Or it's not Sunday League. It's like low level semi-professional because I can tell by the
Saturday
pictures.
League, isn't it? Yeah.
It's not.
There's no hills in this.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
No one's overweight. That's not Sunday League football.
No.
And if it is, you're like in the Premier, whatever division you play. So it's not real Sunday League.
You're the one going in for these like stadium cup finals and shit.
You don't have your striker having a fag at half time and your right back throwing up halfway through the first half. That's Sunday League.
Keepers turning up, smoking a fag in goal. Like, that's
Sunday League.
That's the stuff I want to see.
On that, my first game for these boys when I joined, we rocked up to Bedgrove Park. It's a dead field. It's a horrible field. Playing there, and he was playing against the team that are now top. I walked out of the changing rooms and the other team was all having like a fag, Red Bull, half of them getting changed outside out of their work stuff. And they was all going, oh, that's a good warm up. Fag and
Red Bull.
A fag and a spliff because one was smoking a spliff.
Yeah.
And Red Bull. And I just looked at them and I was like, you have no idea. That's like normal.
This is life, mate.
Yeah.
The fact that you guys aren't doing that, people think you're weird.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, the fact half my team's going to uni is an enigma. Like, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You'll get this one, I imagine. And there's lovely comments about this player, because apparently I'm wrong, and no one will hear anything about it. There's no realm for discussion. Apparently, an opinion, you're not allowed. But most goals in a 38-game season.
It's hard, isn't it?
Do you know how many you got?
38?
36.
Oh.
In 22-23. That is outrageous.
That's just under, what, 0.8 a game?
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Salah's not far off that this season. He's not going to get it. He will dry up, especially like it's Ramadan now, so he's fasting. So if anyone's got Mo Salah in your FPL team, I'd be very cautious about keeping him in for the month of March.
Depending on...
I can't bring any stats up of previous years to see if there's a drop-off when he's fasting.
I think a lot of it will depend on the game time.
Yeah,
because
true.
if it's in the afternoon, like in the United game last night...
Yeah, Mazraoui broke his fast.
Because
just after 5.
They had the ball went out of play or someone went down for a foul, and that's when they were able to break their fast. And it's nice and it's good that they respect that, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll see. 38 goals, 36 goals in 38 games. Mo Salah currently has 25 in 27, something like that.
So he's on the line, so it just depends if he can carry on the momentum even through this month.
This is a joint top, most assists in a single season. Can you tell me him? No, you 100% would have heard this. You guys would have heard it before as well.
Obviously, De Bruyne's up there.
Yeah. I think, to be fair, who he's joined with is slightly surprising to me. Not because he's not a good player. It's just I don't recall this being a major part of his game.
I wouldn't know the second one.
Thierry Henry with 20 assists. It surprised me because Henry isn't known for his assists. I know he was
he's
a very
good
selfless
playmaker.
player, but he was a goal scorer. He was a 25-30 goal a season striker.
Do you know what? That stat really backs you up.
With what?
So you said in our pod last week about the comparison between Salah and Henry.
Yeah.
Comparing them both as forwards and things like that. And there were people that were something like, no, you can't compare them.
Yeah, different positions, different players.
No. But if you look at them, highest amount of assists, highest amount of goals. They're both going for the same sort of stats. They both played on the wing.
I think if you compared them, I was lazy and I didn't do the comparison before I brought them up. But I think they'd be a lot closer in both goals and assists because when Henry came to the Prem, he was a winger.
Yeah.
When he left the Prem, he went back out on the wing.
Yeah.
He didn't play through the middle. So I think, obviously he played on the left-hand side because he's right-footed though.
Yeah.
But just because you're not playing on the same side doesn't mean
you're still playing the same position, just opposite sides. I still stand by it. Henry,
I prefer, but that's maybe nostalgic, and I think 90% of people would say Henry. But
the older generation would want Henry.
When you deep it down and when you really look at it, and if you really watched it and you compared the stats and worked it all out, I think it'd be a lot closer than what most of us believe.
Yeah.
And we're not going to go in anymore, and I'm not going to clip that because I am tired of repeating myself. I'm just tired of it. Fewest wins in the Premier League season was
Derby.
Can you tell me what year it was?
07-08.
Yep. How many points?
Well, I thought it was 16.
See, I thought it was 14 before this season. It's neither of those. It's less.
Less than that.
Yep. They had one win all season. And I got the win wrong. I thought they beat United, but they didn't.
Beat Newcastle.
They beat Newcastle, yeah. And they had 11 points. So I think Southampton are on 9.
Jesus.
And the contrast between how their seasons are going are so similar.
No more wins and they get that. Maybe that's what they're going for now.
Southampton only have like 2 wins all season.
They've still got 2
Actually,
wins.
if they've got 2 wins, they might only have 1.
Do you want me to have a look?
Yeah, have a look quickly.
But yeah, I mean, it's hard for them, really, isn't it? No, they got 2 wins, 3 draws, 22 losses.
That's good, isn't it?
A goal deficit of 46.
Right, so that is all my stats, and I've got a question now. I alluded to it before, but there's a lot of managers and a lot of people that will say stats run football, and a lot of decisions are made based on stats. So my question is to you and to the viewers: do they tell? Did they tell the whole story? One, did they tell the full story? And 2, do they tell the most important parts of the story? So, because a lot can be worked out over XG, for and against, shots on target, all the stats that we gave you in our pack before.
Yeah.
But how relevant are they really?
So XG for me is one of the most pointless infuriating stats.
I don't even fully get it, and I have no desire to work it out.
Well, I'm pretty sure that a penalty is 0.9
I know what
XG.
you're saying, yeah.
So it's not 1, but it's also not 0.5 because
it's not a 50-50 chance. It's heavily weighted towards the penalty taker.
Yeah. But for me, saying, oh yeah, we lost 2-0, but we had an XG of 4.8 and they had an XG of 1.
Yeah.
Okay, that just means they scored better chances, but you had more clear-cut chances. That's all that means. So I think stats can make a team look a lot better than they are.
Yeah. Well, stat padding makes players look better as well.
Exactly, and we touched on this last week or a couple of weeks ago.
That's why I'm very cautious to look at people and say, like, he scored 40 odd goals that season, but 19 of them was penalties.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't. If the stat, you need to look into the actual numbers and the stuff that goes on behind it to work out.
And I think that's one of the things that when
we've alluded to it a couple of times, haven't we?
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
When the debate comes down to like, oh, who's better out of Messi and Ronaldo? They'll go, yeah, but you know, Ronaldo scored more goals, but Messi's given more assists. Things like that.
You know what, the funny thing is, just on that quickly, I'll let you come back to it. I think a lot of conversations around football are as simple as, are you a Ronaldo fan or a Messi fan? So the people who look at the numbers are Ronaldo fans.
Yeah.
And the people that look at the football are Messi fans.
Yeah.
And that's fundamentally it. There's two different views. Neither's right or wrong because there's no way of knowing. That's the beauty of football and the sport that we love.
Absolutely. And it's good that we have a debate like that. And I look forward to, in the future, who's going to be the next two that do that.
Oh, there'll never be anyone.
I don't think there'll be anyone like that. But the younger generations are going to grow up to loving two different types of players. It'll be, you know, someone like Mbappe.
Lamine Yamal. And again, then that you've got your striker and you've got your winger. Yep.
I mean, Mbappe plays on the wing sometimes as well. But
he's through the middle for Real Madrid.
Yeah. And I think he's generally played it through the middle, but I know he's played on the wing.
Yeah, he can play anywhere across the three, can't he? And I think he was only out on the wing at PSG to fit in all the stars that he had around him at the time.
And I think that stats can really bulk out how good a team actually is in comparison to actually how good they are.
Yeah.
And it depends on also what you're watching the football for.
Well, again, look, there's so many. I couldn't agree more, and it's very rare that we agree
so
wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
But prime example for me, a very good example, not prime example, is someone like Paul Pogba, because you'll look at his stats and see they weren't that good.
No.
But all you have to do is watch the guy play when he plays, and yes, I get that he didn't do it often enough, so it wasn't always there. Exactly.
Enough, yeah.
But watching that guy play, he was an unbelievable footballer. He is an unbelievable footballer that could literally have the ball on strings and players all around him. I know I'm only a West Ham fan, so again, I'm not expecting anyone to agree with this specific analogy, but there was a game a few years ago when Ollie was in charge. We was all over him. We was 1-0 up and we battered them the whole game. Pogba decided to play for 15 minutes. We lost 3-1. And Pogba won that game.
Yeah.
And he'd done that so often. And he could do that so often. He just chose not to. He's very similar in the mould of like...
Mesut Ozil?
Yeah, just the players that with the God-given ability to manipulate a football in ways that you and I and most people couldn't even imagine.
Yeah.
And like his stats won't back that up, so he'll be lost in time.
Yeah.
Same as there's so many players like that. Ronaldinho, Neymar. Neymar's stats aren't that good before he went to PSG.
He's such a great player to watch.
Exactly. Ronaldinho was another one. Wasn't scoring every week, wasn't assisting every week, but just watch him play. He played with a smile on his face. He made me smile.
Yeah. He had a contagious smile.
Yeah. There's loads of plethora of players like that, like Adel Taarabt, Hatem Ben Arfa. There's so many players that are a joy to watch that numbers don't back it up. So in that
sense,
in that category, in that sense, they're essentially not very good players because they've not done enough with their careers.
Their stats don't make them look amazing.
Exactly. So there's and equally for fairness, there are players that the stats do match up. Yeah, there's probably loads and loads. For every player I've just given you, there's a player to counteract it with.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the same as everything. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, and I think that if you focus primarily on just the stats, you won't really enjoy the emotion behind football.
Exactly. And that's why managers like Sam Allardyce are no longer at the top level, because he was very much a stat man.
Yeah.
And David Moyes is another stat man, loves a stat, which is why he basically says the percentage of crosses we put into the box, if they're high enough, will eventually score more goals.
Absolutely.
In essence, there's obviously a lot more to it than that.
It's pretty much one of those...
Yeah, that's not me digging them out either.
Yeah, 100% of the shots you don't take don't go in.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's what stats are. It's basically a way of saying, if you play football like you're meant to play football, you'll win it.
Yeah. And that's that could go into our last segment of the day when we get onto it. I'll come back to it why. But now we've got something fun that we want you guys to get involved with. So Nick's going to go first, then I'm going to go. And I want all of you guys, anyone who's watching this, to in the comments do exactly the same thing and let us know what your perfect Premier League player is, using 4 key attributes from legendary players that have only played in the Premier League. We're going to have one left foot, one right foot, football IQ, and flair.
Okay.
They're slightly different to the ones you would have seen before, but you've seen it all over, and I thought it'd be a really fun thing to do.
Yeah.
Something a little bit different. Now I've gone right, left with mine because I don't want you to do the same as everyone else. I picked players that I loved, so you're not going to agree. You're not going to agree. You might agree with the odd player. You might not. I don't care. If I could build this player, I still need to decide between one of them. So I've got 3 players down. But I'll base it hopefully off of what you say.
Okay.
So we'll start with Nick. Who's your left foot?
So my left foot would actually be someone a lot more recent. Okay. So I'd probably go with Salah.
Okay.
Because I love his left foot, and his cut in and shoot.
What's crazy? I love Salah, and he didn't even cross my mind.
But you went more retro, like you went more nostalgia.
Yeah, to be fair, I did. There's not a single current player in mine.
Who's your? Do you want me to do
your
all
whole
4?
player, and then I'll do my whole player.
Right foot.
You got a couple.
Yeah.
Don't do the obvious one. Actually, no, do whatever you want. Do whatever you want.
You just oh God! Now you really throw me off by going. Don't do the obvious one. I'll go Michael Owen.
Really?
Michael Owen was solid.
Do
you know who my other one was though? Alan Shearer.
Well, okay. So you're building a striker then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm building a solid. I want to build a complete forward.
I wouldn't.
But do you know what?
To be fair,
Michael Owen in his day was just. Yeah. I mean, he's not the smartest bloke. I wouldn't choose him for football IQ.
But I wouldn't pick them. But you don't get the amount of goals that they've got in their career.
No, and this is why Alan Shearer was up there for me. I was going to choose Ronaldo as well. Ronaldo was
the obvious one. Ronaldo, Beckham,
and that's why I changed my mind.
Yeah,
because you guys don't pick the obvious one. I was like, okay.
But I want you to pick your favourite player using these things.
But these are strong attributes for a strong complete forward.
Yeah. You could do this 6-7 times over
with so many different.
Each
one be different.
Complete player you'd be equally favourable of. Go on anyway. Football IQ.
Football IQ. Do you know what? I really struggled with this because obviously I'm trying to build a striker, but in my head, all I could think of was like midfielders.
Yeah. What IQ generally is,
because
like a 10.
You're looking at that. So my mind crossed to Gerrard because in his time, I mean, he obviously made a lot of mistakes and things like that, but I liked his leadership and he always seemed to be in the right place.
Would that be IQ though, his leadership?
Yeah, I think he won me over with leadership.
Okay. To be fair,
so
look, I can understand people loving Gerrard if they've got no affiliation to Liverpool if he hasn't done you wrong. He scored that equaliser against West Ham in the FA Cup final, and I've never forgiven him. Okay. Loved him as a player until that point. So he will never be on any of my lists. He might have been in my England 11, but I hope I didn't put him in there.
That's fair.
So Gerrard and Flair.
See, Flair I struggled with because I didn't really, when I growing up watching it, any time I saw Flair was Brazilians, and it was abroad. It was always like European, like people like Neymar, like Messi. Messi's younger years, like just running through play, even in his older years, I suppose.
When he gets on the ball and decides, do you know what, I'm just going to put everyone on my back and just run.
But I quite like the young Cristiano Ronaldo. Because I mean, he's got that iconic like thing where he did all that like flip flap and stuff. Yeah. And he's like,
you just didn't need to do it.
There's no need. But
I love the arrogance. Yeah, no, I hear that.
But that would be my.
So you got left foot was Salah.
Yep.
Right foot Owen.
Yep.
Gerrard as my
IQ. Football IQ, yeah.
And
Ronaldo's my flair.
Very good.
And I think that builds a pretty solid striker.
Yeah.
If you were going to go high, I was going to choose Peter Crouch.
I was going. So
Go on.
I had to change mine because I've had to say so many times I'm not a United fan. Yeah. But my first 3 were all United players.
Yeah, he definitely changed that.
So I did change it.
Okay.
But then the third one, he's still there because he's going to get an honourable mention. I'm not going to put him in, but he's
going to get an honourable mention.
So I don't know who I'm going to pick out the other 2. I'll choose when I get there. But left foot, I went Robbie Van Persie.
Good choice.
Unbelievable left foot.
That header, mate. That volley as well.
Mate, just his left foot. He did things that would make you go, oh!
Yeah. And that's what you want, isn't it?
Yeah, you just... And don't support Arsenal. Don't support United. But I loved him.
Yep.
And then the options were between him, Bale, and Giggs for me.
Oh, Bale. I didn't even think of him.
Bale for me when he was in the Prem wasn't his best years. He had that 1 or 2 good seasons at Tottenham, but when he went to Real Madrid was where he really excelled, and you saw that highlight reel of unbelievable goals.
Yeah.
And he was really good, but for longevity, Van Persie, unbelievable.
Across the years.
I only saw the end of Giggs' career, so I can't really.
Yeah, it's a bit harder to choose from.
It would have been unfair for me to go Giggs. So yeah, Van Persie for me all day long.
Right foot.
Rooney, Wazza.
That's fair.
His right foot was an absolute rocket.
See, now I thought he would have been the obvious choice.
Oh really? Oh.
Only because, like, for us growing up, Rooney was like that player, wasn't he? That bicycle kick was with his right foot.
You can hear the confidence
right
like, Rooney!
Yeah.
And the one where he's arguing with the ref against Newcastle, he's literally arguing with him. The ball comes across, he's still arguing, the ball's coming. He looks at it and fucking volleys it and thunderfucks it into the top corner. That is unbelievable.
That is
technique.
A great reel. And one thing I always remember is when they had a drop ball.
Yeah, he just booted it.
No, he's just kicking the shit out of the player.
Like, that's a guy that scored 2 goals from the halfway line against West Ham, by the way.
Yeah.
So I'm not bitter. I recognise game.
Yeah, game recognises game.
But yeah, Rooney for me. It's a shame that I don't feel he fulfilled his potential.
Nah. He needed to win internationally, I think.
He needed a Ballon d'Or for the raw talent that he had and just how good and how high his ceiling was.
Yeah.
For me, anyway. Football IQ. This was the obvious one. The hard one, sorry, for me. Yep. Because Henry's probably one of my favourite Premier League players. But I didn't want to give him the right foot.
He was up there with Flair for me as well.
I didn't want to put him on Flair because my Flair's clear.
Mm.
So I had to squeeze him in as a football IQ, but then I had to bench Scholes and David Silva. Scholes isn't coming in because I can't have a United player. Scholes is
up there.
Probably, for me, the best midfielder in Premier League history. But I'm not putting him in. David Silva, the guy simply never lost the ball. Never made the wrong pass and was always so calm. So in terms of IQ, in how I look at it, and his awareness, I put David Silva in.
The way he can see a pass before we see the pass.
He was just unbelievable. He was so calm all the time. He's always looked like he was playing in like third gear. He never looked stressed. Like you see players like Jordan Henderson always looks in anguish.
Yeah.
Always looks like he's really struggling or really working. Declan Rice is another one. Always looks like he's really working, and that's admirable. But he was always so calm. And I love David Silva. And a flair player for me. I've mentioned him a few times in this pod. I don't think you'll remember. But so good they had to name him twice. JJ Okocha. This geezer. It was only one season he was at Bolton, and it was at the end of his career. But the stuff he did with the ball was stuff that I'd try and I'd watch, and you'd see on like Skill School, and I'd never seen that in the Premier League because no one did it at the time. No one did rainbow flicks. No one rainbow flicked Ray Parlour. No one just lobbed it over someone's head from the floor. Now we see it more often.
Do you reckon Ray Parlour's like still pissed about it?
I reckon he loves it.
Do you reckon he watches it on repeat?
People's always going to know who Ray Parlour is because of that.
You're the guy that JJ Okocha rainbow flicked, don't you?
But yeah, JJ Okocha for me was I loved watching him, but I didn't realise that he'd already had such an extinguished career before he came to the Prem.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know, I must have been like 8 or 9, 10 at the time. I didn't know there was a massive plethora of football outside of England and Scotland.
Yeah, I suppose that's just what we grew up with. Yeah, that's what we saw all the time.
Champions League games and stuff, but I'd rarely looked at any games other than...
For me, I never watched the Champions League because I was always a Watford fan.
Yeah. So Van Persie, Rooney, David Silva, JJ Okocha against Salah, Owen,
Gerrard, and Ronaldo.
Who wins?
I think I'll win that on Salah and Ronaldo alone.
No, I don't. Wayne Rooney will weigh them in.
You're
going to get the ball off JJ and David Silva. Never getting the ball.
Gerrard could slip his way in.
But let us know your ultimate Premier League player.
But yeah, submit your versions. Let's see who's got the best. Moving on to Sunday League Heroes and Zeros.
We've got a nice little fun segment that you guys can get involved with as well.
Absolutely.
I wanted to hear about some of your classic Sunday League mishaps, like reminiscent of the Stevie G slip, or the Joey Barton red card.
Yeah.
Against Man City.
Those 2-yard misses, things like that.
Yeah. Because I racked my brains and I don't have any that automatically spring to mind.
Well, like personal for you?
Yeah, personal
like, that
I've
you've seen or done.
Actually, no, I do. Actually, I remember when I was a kid, we used to walk the dog at a local park, and it was actually where we used to play for St George V in Watford.
Oh yeah, in the Hollywood.
And my dad used to bring me up there before I started playing football, so I must have been like 5 or 6. This is like one of my first memories of football. And my dad would stand there watching Sunday League games, and I'd just be dicking around with a dog or climbing trees.
Yeah.
And for some reason I was watching this game once, and it like started kicking off, and one geezer stormed off to his van, and then the game carried on playing. Like 10 minutes later he came back with a mallet and chased the ref off the pitch.
Oh God.
And obviously there was like 15, 16 players just standing there like, I don't know what. The ref literally ran up. He ran, so the field was massive, but he ran right down the bottom of the field. The guy followed him. The ref must have slipped out and he just fucked off, because the guy came back with his mallet about half an hour later.
Jesus.
And the ref was obviously nowhere to be seen. But yeah, that's the only memory that I can think of.
So I've actually got a memory on the same field.
Oh really?
Yeah. And this was only a couple of years ago, and it was playing for Chorleywood. And we were playing a cup game. I mean, we were losing. And
shock.
Yeah, we were playing a cup game against someone like 2 leagues above us, and they were a relatively good team, but they lost their heads really quickly. And I don't know what happened on the sideline. So I'm standing with John, George's dad. Yeah. And all of a sudden their line.
Only last season.
It might be last season or the season before.
Because you told me about this. It must be last season.
Yeah, but it could have been. I can't really remember. But I was there.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it starts kicking off between their lino and John.
Explain who John is.
So John is he's the assistant coach, basically.
He's 70.
Yeah.
I'm probably an alcoholic.
He's an older bloke. And he loves a drink.
How about this talk?
Yeah. Anyway, this guy's mouthing off to him, and he starts mouthing off back. Then he gets all up in his face. Then his wife comes over. This is John's wife, stands in between them, like pushing him away. This guy has then swung and hit John's wife. I've never seen 11 men and subs run over so quickly to this bloke and chase him. This man runs off. Obviously, police get called. It's all kicking off. And all I remember is their whole team going, "Oh, we don't know who he is." He just randomly walked up to us and said he wanted to do the lino.
Yeah, all right.
So some random bloke...
He's got a kit on, mate.
Yeah, some random bloke just happens to be in your kit and wants to do the line for you. Sounds legit.
Did anything ever happen to that?
He got arrested. I don't know what happened after that.
Oh, really?
But they found him. They went to his house. Eventually, the other team gave him who they were.
They would have reckoned about it at some point, wouldn't they?
Well, I'd like to think so, yeah. But yeah, that's probably one of my
It's crazy
seeing some full-grown man punch a woman.
It's crazy what happens sometimes. I've got it's a referee in London, this one.
Cool.
So I played a cup final. It would have been probably one of my last games for my Sunday League team. So I would have been 11, 12. And the ref was a friend of our manager. And I know that because I used to have a season ticket to Watford with my dad, because I lived near the stadium.
Yeah.
And we used to go sometimes with the manager. And the manager would sometimes get into one of the boxes and he'd invite us. And this guy was always there, who turned out to be this ref.
Yeah.
So I recognised him, and I remember looking at him, and I was like, I recognise him. And I asked my dad, and he goes, "Oh yeah, he was at such and such game."
The Watford
and I was like,
game,
"Oh, okay." Started playing, thinking nothing of it, and as like 11, 12, 13-year-old, however old I was, you don't really think of any peripherals. You only think about football.
Yeah.
And I just remember the opposition fans livid, like the whole game, like so loud. We ended up winning like 4-0. I got a hat-trick of penalties. I remember I scored a hat-trick of penalties. This is before I stopped taking them. Yeah. And I got back, and my dad didn't say anything in the car. And that was really odd, because my dad was really brutal after games with me. He'd be like, if you didn't have a good game, if I scored a hat-trick, he'd be like, "You should have got 6. You missed.
You could have done more."
Yeah. Which really helped me out, and that's why I'm sitting in a box room recording now, not playing. Yeah. Cheers, Dad.
Nice one.
But yeah, so I recall sitting in the car, and I was like, "This is odd." I remember racking my brain like, Well, actually done quite well.
Yeah, why is he?
But he's got a moan now, only got penalties or something like that. Because I did miss a couple of chances, but at 12, you always do.
Yeah, you're not going to score.
No matter how good you are, you're always going to miss chances. Got home, didn't say anything. We done our usual Sunday thing. Got to like the Wednesday next week and went to training. Spoke to my manager, was speaking to me, and he was like, "How do you think the game went on Sunday?" I was like, "It was all right. We won." And he was like, "You didn't think anything odd happened or anything like that?" And I was like, "No." And then I got back in the car, and Mum was like, "What was Carlos talking to you about?" And I was like, "The game on Sunday." And she was like, "Oh, okay. Yeah. What did he say?" And she was like, he asked if you thought everything went all right, and I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Oh, okay. Did you not notice anything?" And I was like, well, "I don't get what's going on.
What's happening here?"
And she was like, "I'll let your dad explain." And I got home, and my dad was half pissed because he always was.
Yeah.
And Mum was like, "You need to tell him." So my dad sat me down and just started laughing like hysterically. I was like, I'm
this is
so
weird
confused.
Now.
Yeah. You're never happy drinking.
Yeah.
And he was like, the ref was awful. And I was like, it wasn't that bad. He goes, he gave a handball and it was you that handballed it. He gave us a penalty and I handballed it. I was like, I didn't handball it. He goes, well, the defender didn't. And I was like, okay, well, we might have just got that wrong. And he was like, okay, when Ashley went down with the second penalty that was out near the corner flag, did you think it was a foul? And I was like, I played the ball. I didn't see it. I was too far away, but the ref gave it and the linesman gave it. And he was like, no, the ref gave it and the linesman flagged to say it was outside the box. And we was all there. It was our lino.
Oh.
So it was our lino saying it wasn't a penalty. I was like, oh, okay. So what it turned out basically is the manager, our manager and the ref were somehow in like cahoots for this game. And it was only like a Sunday league game, but I was none the wiser. And that for years was just like, well, maybe I'm just not very good.
So you,
because I thought it was all me. Like, oh, they didn't think I could score, so they cheated so that we'd win. And so that was.
So you were part of a Sunday league
scandal.
Under 12 scandal.
Can we start looking at Watford Observer from how long ago was that? So 2006, 7. I'm sure there'll be something about it. But next year that coach left and like, that team folded. I wasn't there. That was when I moved. That was when I went to Chelsea. But
so getting that hat trick and winning that cup final.
Well, it's actually the guy who scouted me. So scouting's different now, but it used to be if you're a scout, you go and watch someone for a period of time. You write reports and then you approach the manager at the end of the game, and you speak to the parents and you'd offer a 4, 6, 8 week trial. It turns out that guy who's scouted me, his first game he watched me at was that game.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, fucking result for you then.
Yeah,
really.
So it worked out well. But yeah, that's. You got any more?
I've probably got like a couple. Obviously, this weekend was quite an interesting one.
Oh yeah.
Again,
we'll finish on that one.
Another scrap. So we played a team. We won 8-2. We went down to 10 men. Basically, they turned up with no subs whatsoever. So there's 11 men. 11 men on the pitch. There's only 14 of us. Mm-hmm. I started in right back, as I normally do. And we just dominated from minute one. To be honest, we went 3-0 up really quickly. They got one back. I basically beat a guy to the ball, so he's running down my wing. So because I played on the left for some reason, Aziz wanted to play on the right, which is fine.
What, you swapped over?
Yeah, no. So I started on the left back.
You said you started right back.
No, sorry, no.
You started full back. You started left. Okay.
Yeah. And normally I play on the right. Anyway, he's come across and I've beaten him to the ball. I felt really fast this game.
The purple boots, mate.
That's it, mate. And then so I've run sort of towards our corner flag, thinking, right, I'm either going to try and turn him here, or I'm going to kick it against him and get a goal kick. As I've turned sort of inside towards our box, I've gone to boot it. He's just studs down straight on my ankle. Obviously, it hurt. It's an impact injury. Went down. The guy that done it was fuming about it. Kicks the ball at me. Kicks is probably a little bit of a harsh word for it. He kicks the ball towards me. It hits me.
With a little bit more pace than he should have.
Yeah. Big Tyrone.
Yeah, big
wasn't
team.
having any of that. He saw that, comes storming over, goes, "What the fuck are you kicking the ball at him? Our player's hurt on the ground, you're kick." Pushes him in the face. Guy goes down like he's been punched in the head.
He's probably scared, mate. Tyrone's a scary guy. He said this before, mate. He's got a gold tooth. He's like 6'2". And when he shouts, you listen.
Yeah. But bearing in mind, I'm still on the ground at this point, so I haven't seen any of this go off. Apart from I looked up to see him push him on the ground.
Right.
Wasn't anything in it really. Every single person then fights it, and I remember it was either their manager or their assistant manager. I'd see him at the sideline take his jacket off and start running after Tyrone. I'm like,
Did Tyrone run off?
No.
I was going to say, Tyrone ain't going to run off, is he?
I was like, you're making a mistake here, man. Don't run over to him. You'll make it worse.
Yeah.
You're going to get hurt. And obviously everyone knows what Tyrone's like, so stood in between trying to calm it all down. That went on for about 15 minutes.
Really?
Before the ref finally got it. And ref basically spoke to both captains and said, if you don't get a handle on this, I'll abandon the game and they'll win. We were 3-1 up at this time. So we went down to 10 men. Then they had a sub turn up at half time who came on for the injured player that they lost in the first half.
Oh, okay.
Because they went down to 10 men originally. Tyrone was my hero, but then became zero because he got sent off. So that would be my hero to zero story.
Have you got any penalty misses or anything?
I've never really taken penalties.
I've missed 2.
Have you?
You saw one of them.
Oh, yeah.
So I missed one in the cup final when I was about 15.
Yeah.
That was the last penalty I ever took until the one I missed.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
you didn't miss?
No, it was fucking awful.
It was just a bad penalty.
It was the worst penalty ever. Anyway, so the first one I missed was in a cup final. Never missed a penalty up until this point. And the keeper, I knew the keeper. I can't remember why. I think he was... played like for the county with me or something. Or district football, I can't remember. But I knew him. And for some reason it put me up, and it's the first time I felt nervous taking a penalty. Anyway, I scuffed the floor and I put it not far enough in the corner and he just tipped it wide and we lost. Not that bothers me.
No.
And then last year, last year.
Yeah. No, it would have been the year before.
Who was I playing for then? Because I played on the Saturday.
Well, you'd have played with me for Aylesbury.
Did you play on the Saturday as well, and then the Sunday?
We joined Aylesbury together.
Yeah, so but
I played both.
You played both.
Yeah.
Right, so anyway, so we were how me and Nick met. We was at a team in Chorley Wood at a similar time. I'd left before Nick joined, but I was still signed on, so I'd play occasionally.
Yeah, did pre-seasons and stuff, didn't we?
We played for our Saturday team, the team that we used to play for together last season. Mm-hmm. Then on Sunday, my wife was away, so I brought my two boys down to go and play for the Sunday team.
In the cup game, wasn't it?
In a cup game, yeah. So I came on. I'm not very fit at this point. I played 70, 80 minutes the day before. My legs were in bits, but being stupid and naive, I was like, yeah, I'll be all right.
Fine.
Came on and felt like my legs were like lead. Went to penalties, and for some reason, it was just assumed I might take a penalty. No one asked me.
I begged to take a penalty.
No one asked me at all. And then they go, oh, Mike, you can go first. I was like, yeah, okay, cool.
Get out of the way and double.
Yeah, cool. The goal's massive. Like, you just have to hit it where the keeper doesn't go and it'll lightly go in.
Yeah, especially Sunday League.
And I was so nonchalant about it. In my head, I was fucking, like, dripping with sweat. But the ref put the ball down. He goes, oh, you can move it if you want. I was like, nah, it's all right. Rolled up. I stuttered, and the keeper didn't move. He stood there. So I was like, fuck. So then I proceeded to just roll it on the floor, no miles per hour, to the keeper's right. And he literally picked it up and moved it. My eldest shouted, he goes, Dad, what was that? And then the sideline, the other team was going, that was well shit. That was well shit. And the worst thing was, right, is that they were wearing, like, hats for the club, that they were scarves. And there's such an easy comeback. It's like, you're not even in the team, but you're wearing, like, memorabilia on a Sunday. Go and get a life. But I was just fuming with myself that I'd missed a penalty so badly. And the worst thing was, none of that was the worst thing. The worst thing was I walked back over. I barely knew anyone because the team's changed. And it was just silence. And someone goes, don't worry about it. I can't remember who it was.
Me. Luckily, everybody's penalties were dog.
Yeah.
And we won that before it needed me.
Mine was by far the worst.
One of, yeah. I think another person on our team took exactly the same penalty.
It went in, though. It went under the keeper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so a little bit more pace and you'd have got that.
Yeah, so all mine are penalties.
Yeah. But they are the sort of biggest zero to hero.
Yeah.
And the mallet, yeah. I wouldn't even say that was hero. It was straight zero, mate.
I mean, he might have had a good game up until that point.
He might
I don't know what the score was.
I bet he was losing.
But do you guys have any Sunday League mishaps reminiscent of anything that we've spoken about? Let us know. Whack them in the comments. We can have a good old chat about them.
Absolutely.
Or any from Premier League history. Obviously, you've got the obvious ones that we spoke about.
Yeah, the
John Terry's penalty slip in the Champions League final. That's always a good one.
Yeah.
Ademola Lookman's chip against West Ham. Woeful. Beck's missed a couple of penalties from slipping.
Yeah.
There's so many.
So many good red cards as well, things like that.
Ben Thatcher, that was it, Ben Thatcher, and it was absolutely horrendous. Anything like that, drop them in the comments and let's get this. Let's get our comment section vibing.
That's it.
Without telling us off.
Yeah.
I've had no opinions this week, so I can't be told off, surely.
Surely not. No.
And now we're going to finish with everyone's favourite.
Who said that?
And what this basically is I'm going to read a famous quote that was said by a player, manager, or coach. And Nick is going to do his best to guess without cheating who it was. I've picked ones, apart from the last one, which I've said you're not going to get. There's 3. I picked ones that you can get. 4 actually, and you can get them. Okay. And likewise in the comments, let us know if you got them before Nick or I told you. So you ready for the first one?
Let's go for it. I don't know.
Some of them just don't make sense. But the first one is, the only thing I fear is cows. I don't like them. They look at me with a weird face.
Okay. I
can give you some clues if you want some.
No, I don't want any clues.
Okay.
In my head, all I'm thinking is that cannot be an English player.
Of course not, yeah.
That's worded. I don't know. Someone Spanish.
Is someone Spanish? It was Juan Mata.
Oh.
So Juan Mata has a fear of cows because they look at him weird. With a weird face.
That's Juan Mata, isn't it?
And here's your next one.
Go on.
We lost because we didn't win.
That sounds like a Michael Owen quote.
That is not Michael Owen.
Oh, right.
It's Cristiano Ronaldo.
Don't become a pundit. He doesn't need to. He's got stupid amounts of money.
This one I think you'll get. This one is a manager.
Yeah.
We're not in the entertainment business. We're here to win football matches.
That's Jose Mourinho.
That is Jose Mourinho. Well
done. The arrogance of you saying that enough was enough for me to know who that was.
And this one I think you'll get. This is my favourite one. That would have been a goal had he gone inside the post.
That's definitely Michael Owen. That.
Do you know, the first 6 I got were all Michael Owen.
Yeah.
So I had to change it up. We're going to keep this. I think we're going to keep this as a running theme. And there'll be a Michael Owen one every week for about a year.
Definitely.
You don't have any, do you?
I do have one.
Okay, go on then.
And it's, we'll have a fucking word with him, ref.
No.
Oh, that's like iconic.
No.
I can't do it in his accent. It's Neil Warnock. We'll have a fucking word with him, ref. On the side of the pitch.
I don't recall that at all. Neil Warnock is it's got so many though.
Oh mate, I just remember that random video of him just coming up to the camera, just
with the Oasis back music. Like, that was quality. And
that was the only one I had.
Cool. Well, if you're happy, I'll leave you with this corker of a quote.
Go on.
From the legend himself, that is Ron Atkinson. Because Nick, you definitely wouldn't have got Ron Atkinson, but this is something he genuinely said in a post-match interview, and this is why we need players like Big Ron back in the game. I never comment on referees, and I'm not going to break a habit of a lifetime for that prep. See you next week.
Peace.
I worked all weekend. Fucking, I'm absolutely shattered. At work,
did you play Saturday?
Yeah, we won 8-0.
Oh yeah.
First game, Skipper, mate. Big Skip Mike. That's all I'm going to nickname myself. The worst game of football I think I've played.
Which is weird. Normally they say when you're a captain you play better.
All the talking was good. I played 70, 75 minutes. So
the leadership side of it was good.
But
just
the
your actual
was dreadful.